all activity based.
If you can illustrate, because
Now,
I guess tourism is a booming industry.
Yeah. So I think that's an opportunity for any good corporate to get in partnership with us, so that the children will learn exactly what has to be done. If they select a career in tourism, we'll say you want to be a front office manager, chef, or whatever it is. Now through the program, while we give the material to them and teach them, they can also do what is called job shadowing. And the companies, the corporates also have the opportunity to allow these children to come during their vacation or whatever time and be on the spot, maybe in a kitchen, learning how the chef is cooking, how
So
his
some
planning
sort of
is.
an internship.
It's like an internship. So that by the time, if they have identified their careers, they can select a career in tourism, maybe in the hotel sector, maybe in the travel sector, different areas there are. And the program, when you read the material, it's so exciting even to people like us, you see. Then we have also a program called Careers with a Purpose, where the children can learn how to select their career. It should be now when you ask people in an interview, what do you want to do? Well, anything. Many of them don't have a goal in life. But here you are helping them to decide on a goal, depending on their own talents and skills that they have. So that's one other program.
Just a second now, when you spoke about the tourism and then the other financial trade program, this is available for students maybe in the tertiary level, is it? Because if they are to go to the companies, I just got the feeling that they have to be a bit more mature, or am I right in that?
Once they do the high school company program,
right,
they can then go on and do the specialized program.
So the high school company program is a prerequisite to do this program.
Yes.
Right, okay.
So then we have another program called Banks in Action, where children simulate a real bank, and then they run a bank, and so but when they come out, they can be part of, get into the banks itself. Now that in reverse, it helps the bank to also identify good potential employees. So banks can select programs like that. Tourism can be relevant to the business corporate sector, which is in the tourism business. Then the GLOBE program on import-export business. So there are various types of, there's a new program called Be Entrepreneur. And today's world, today, there's a lot of focus on entrepreneur education. And this program has been for 90 years now, and now it's spread all over the world. But I think Sri Lanka can very much benefit from this program, with more people becoming partners of the program. One is through sponsorships, other is to become business volunteer mentors.
Now that's interesting when you say business volunteer mentors. Yeah. What does that mean?
That means, take yourself for instance. If you like to, you can come and learn this program. You go to a school, you select a school that you like, you go there, spend maybe 1 or 2 hours a week only, that's all. Then the teacher does the balance. The children do a lot of things on their own, and children can contact you if they want any advice from you, but you have to strictly understand our program. So
this, are you giving training to the volunteers who would be out there who want to do that? So what will be the benefit for a volunteer? Say for example, somebody like me who is listening to you, why should they volunteer? What is the benefit that they will gain other than the satisfaction of actually teaching and being able to pass the experience to them?
It all depends on the individuals, you see, because if they feel that we must help these children to get better in life, maybe of fostering a few children, then you enjoy going and mixing up with them, talking to them. Now in my case, I have given up my business several years ago, and I am 100% involved in this program, because children ask me, why did you give up a good business and why are you taking time here? So I am saying that the mental satisfaction, the mental profit I make is much more than all the money in the world. And how much can I do with all the money?
And then what is the prerequisite for anybody to be a volunteer? Does that person has to be in the industry with business experience to pass it on, or is there any prerequisite for
Actually,
anyone?
there is no strictly prerequisite, but if they are in business and have business experience, certainly with their practical knowledge it will help very much. But the mentor can understand the problem. We will give them manuals which they can study, and then they can then contribute their own. That could be your own contribution to the country, where you are developing young people to be good citizens in this country.
So that is a crucial point where we can remind our audience who are watching us today that there is an opportunity to be a mentor to the students, and if you are engaged in any work, I mean most of the people are doing work, so if they can find 1 hour or 2 hours, they can also go to schools and they can extend their knowledge also by also getting trained as in these particular modules. So we are actually, Mr. Amarasinghe, talking about a lot of synergies, because you're talking about the corporates who can look at the CSR brand building aspects and targeting the market, and then also the opportunities for employment and engaging with the students to add value and making them entrepreneurial. You're talking about individuals like us who are out there who would want to spare a couple of times. So to the audience out there, there is a process that is unraveling, that is over 500 schools, that you can really participate in adding value in many ways, and also the businesses in terms of sponsorship. So that's a very interesting concept, Mr. Amarasinghe. So what is, like if you take for example the tourism business you said, can you illustrate with an example as to what are the activities these students engage in?
Now that all depends on the students themselves, because there are so many career opportunities in the tourism and travel business. So they can think of being a tourist guide if they want to. They can become a part of a hotel, a part of it, or the inbound and outward traveling part of it. It's up to the child to decide which one they want to do. I want to say something important when you asked me that earlier question. Now we have a very big challenge before us. Our whole society has a challenge. It's not only the government. Where today we have something like nearly 5.5 million children under 18 years of age. Everybody can't expect to get a government job. So the private sector in particular has to create that opportunity for these young children to come and get involved in knowing, upgrading their skills, becoming workforce ready, because the challenge is that we have had 2 bad uprisings in this country. We have had a long 30-year-old war on terrorism. Now that these are behind us at the moment, if we do not focus on helping children, I think society has a major responsibility today to contribute to the future of these children. Otherwise, we may be sitting on a human volcano, because otherwise what we have, time bomb. So I think that part of it is essential. Today we are happily going around thinking that there are no bombs around. But maybe if we do not, if we neglect this crowd, some extremist group only has to plant that seed of envy, jealousy between the haves and the have-nots, you see.
So you are referring to the environment and the entrepreneurial environment that has to be also facilitated through the private sector. Absolutely, also.
Yes.
And in this context, I also wanted to ask you something. When you say entrepreneurial, we feel like, okay, you're out of school or out of the university, yes, you can start your own business or your own venture, but we know in reality that is not very possible, because you also need to gain experience. So if a student wants to be entrepreneurial, is it also a very good idea to always, after passing from the schools or the universities, to gain industry experience for a reasonable time and then think of being entrepreneurial? What is your take on it?
Actually, it works out both ways. If you look at the world today, or even in Sri Lanka, there are people who have hardly gone to school who are very good entrepreneurs here. It all depends on his entrepreneurial spirit in him. But if you have experience in working somewhere, knowing about something you're going to do, it will certainly help you to do that. I'll just give you an example of 1 or 2 children. Now there's a boy from Gaul, from Richmond College. He got in the program at the primary school and he moved upwards. He was inspired by this program. He was supposed to be a very lazy type of boy, where the parents have told me. This boy started selling little green leaf from his garden. Then from there he moved into selling tea sacks into the plantation companies, and he became entrepreneur while being in school. And his entrepreneurial spirit was even further proved, because when the tsunami came, he was from Gaul, his whole tea business went for 6. Then he went to start into supplying products for the rubber plantations, and he made a lot of money. And last year he became the most outstanding young entrepreneur among schools, and we nominated him what is called for a growing up CEOs of the world competition. And from all these 123 countries, they selected 9, and one was this boy.
So he got selected?
He got selected, and he was given a free trip exposure in the Harvard University in USA, and made a lot of new friends, Now he's come back. Then last month he got again invited to go to something in England on entrepreneurship. So he's now become, his whole family got so motivated that his sisters who were graduates said, no, what